Hey friends, we're back and it's time to feed the worms again. This camera does not pick up my new window shades or whatever adhesives as cool as they are, but they're really cool. Wally's here. He is checking the perimeter for us. And, whoa, wait for it. Now Moose is here. Now it's a party. Okay, so time to feed the worms. Past me, left myself some notes about what we're doing, but last week was a great feeding chicken, if you will, because, or a couple days ago, I guess, because we were officially starving tier 3, which is down at the bottom, and then we had split some of them and moved them already into tier 1, so hopefully they'll migrate up on their own, but this is helping jumpstart tier 1. So we're going to be feeding them, and then I made myself a note that tier 4 is probably going to be fed / baited, so we could split that tier soon, or at least partially split, and take worms out of there and move them out to our urban worm bag version 2 out on the patio to help get that rocking and rolling. So we're going to check on pretty much everybody today, let's be honest. We're checking on everybody. Alright, so here is our tier 3 that we just started. Ooh, actually, you know what? I'll show you guys this really quick. This is underneath where we put that paper, so I don't see as many mites. So that's good, that worked. Okay, more importantly, tier 3. This is the one that we're starving and splitting, but there's plenty of stuff for them to be finishing up on in here. I was just curious to see how many worms. So we see worms over here. There's obviously a recent feeding over here. Let's see, there's some worms. Yeah, a little bit of worms over here. There's definitely worms over here. I know we have been feeding them in this area. So there's still plenty of worms in our Wormington community here to finish off this tier. So I'm just going to keep agitating them a little bit just to help mix things around a little bit and hopefully encourage them to finish up some of this bedding that's in here. And you know, there's random asparagus pieces and whatnot, so they're doing really good, right, Wally? Wally's TBD. What are you doing? Oh, we're checking security. Okay, Wally, you gotta back up. We gotta feed the worms. Wally. Come on, Wally. You big doofus. Come on. Thank you, big guy. Alright. Alright, that brings us to tier 1, our newly restarted tier. Wally, you want to say hi to the worms today? And I guess these castings are what you're seeing from us splitting the tier below and then dumping some of the worms that we had baited in here. So we just took some of the castings to help, 1, move the worms easier without hands picking and separating them, but 2, it'll help get the biome going in here because there's plenty of good stuff in here. So ooh, we got some worms. We got some wormies. I'm trying to see if they wandered off too far. Not too much. Alright, so given that there's not a tremendous amount of worms here on this layer, I am going to safely put some food in this back right corner. And I'm just taking this cheese container, and I had filled it. It's partially frozen right now, and I'm just going to split this between all of the tiers that are getting fed today because, 1, I kind of want to do a little bit of a lighter feeding just because we've been doing a lot of moving around and rearranging of the tiers, and so I'm a little worried that the worms aren't going to be as hungry. So this is my effort to try to prevent any overfeeding from happening. Will that happen? I don't know, but we're gonna try. So we'll just take from the top here. So this one had some berries, some banana, just the usual kind of mix of things, and we're not gonna go too far. Yep, like it's literally, I feel good with just that amount because there's not a lot of worms in here. So probably like 1 banana peel's worth, some kale, some strawberries, maybe a blueberry. Well, here we'll cover, we'll have some paper towels, so we'll cover here. And then I think, you know, just for funsies and making sure we're not attracting any nuisances, we'll just put a little extra bedding on top. Because like I said, there's a lot of worms in here, so I don't know how long it's going to take them to get over there. But it's definitely sweeter food, so I think they're more likely to chow down on it. Alright, now we're going to resume into tier 2, which has been going really well, all things considered. You guys might recall that this is our first bin, our first tier that we started, that was no coconut core. So this was all just shredded cardboard, paper, egg cartons, toilet paper rolls, paper towels. Now, there are a lot of worms in here for sure. I'm just kind of poking around because I'm trying to see if there's any obvious food. Okay, so there is a little bit of food over here. Yeah, so we're gonna let them keep working on that, and then we'll feed in this corner here. It looks like there's a decent number of them here. I kind of think this is a little dry for my liking here, or a little dry, a little wet. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna feed over here. And they're gonna get a little bit more because I know there's a lot of them in here. And so then we'll go ahead and I'll just put like maybe 1 paper towel down. But collectively, I think this is a little on the wet side in here. And it's hard to, you know, with the paper and the cardboard, it does kind of, it can clump together, which is why I've been trying to agitate it and move it around a little bit. But I am just going to go ahead and add a few things. What you got, Moose? What did you just eat? Hi. What did I drop something? Moose is tall enough. He can check on our. Oh wait. Okay. Whew, I thought that was a worm. Just a piece of cardboard. Okay, you're a good boy. You need another worm today. Thanks, big fella. You guys, could you believe that Moose is now 82 pounds? I know we're supposed to be feeding the worms, but he just turned 1 not too long ago, and I'm constantly impressed with how big he is for a barely 1-year-old. Okay, focusing, people. Focusing. So, just no reason, but just precautionary efforts. I'm just going to throw a little bit of mosquito bits in. It's probably fine. You probably don't need them. But if they get wet enough to saturate the bits and activate essentially, then they're there. And if they just sit there and they end up in the garden in 6 months, I also don't mind. And then let's get some grit in here. I'm going to be very generous with our grits. I haven't put grits in here in a while, but I can remember grits in my notes. But I think that's a good amount of grit, don't you think? And then that'll help. I mean, the grit will help them with a lot of different things, but worst case scenario, just absorb some moisture, and then I'm just gonna put some fresh bedding. Now that I do this, just to help with that moisture. I think that'll help. Hopefully can't make the situation worse. And we're doing our usual renter mess check. Today we have a few little clumps, nothing that my shoes don't bring in or the puppy's toes don't get in. So clearly I'm making it worse, but not much mess. So if you're a renter like me, we've been pretty consistent about not really having problems with messes with this setup. So that is good. Alright, I'll just dump that in here. Oops. We do have some worms up here that I'm just gonna quickly toss over back into the bin so they don't get rambunctious and run down my, down my freezer. Like nincompoops. Alright, so tier 4 is our final tier that we're going to be feeding today. It's also our final tier in general. So we have some guys around the edges. I'm just going to push them down because I don't want them accidentally falling over. But that's good. I feel good about this tier. This is the one that we're going to be baiting essentially. You can tell this tier has been going for a while. There's not a lot of bedding left in it. It's getting pretty full. Here, I'll show you. I'm sure it could be fuller. But what I want to do is utilize all of these healthy worms. And if you guys have heard some of my recent ramblings about my plans, the general plan is I would like to treat my hot frog as essentially my breeder bins, my breeder boxes, and move these worms out into the urban worm bag, make it a little, or appears to be a little bit more hands-off. That's the plan, because not that I don't mind putting everything into like smaller portions and everything. I really love and intrigued by the urban worm bag of just kind of like dumping it in, sealing it up, and letting it go. And so I'm hoping that that is true and that system works out. I've read a lot online. The Reddit seemed to like the urban worm bag, so it's just about getting the right ratios in there, I think. So, I mean, there's plenty of worms in here as it is, so I would love to be able to take some of the worms out of here and get them out into my worm bag to really start going crazy out there. But for now, we're going to go ahead and give them the last of this container, which is mostly sweet stuff that I think they're going to like. Boop. This is probably the largest feeding of all 3 that we did today. I'm just going to go ahead and take a paper towel in there real quick, and I'll show you guys. So we got maybe a banana or 2 in here. There were some berries in there somewhere. So I'm not going to be adding bedding to this tier just yet, because we're going to be baiting them, and I want it to be more worms and castings than bedding that I move out there, because I think it'll be helpful to have compost slash biome slash castings from multiple bins to get even more biodiversity out there. So in the worm bag at least. So nothing additional getting added here. We're gonna let them just keep doing their thing, and then depending on, I don't know, life I suppose, and the weather and what's going on, I'll probably check back in here in a couple days, and we'll see if we can get some of these guys out of this tier 4, just move out into the urban worm bag. Assuming everything goes okay tomorrow, I'm going to be trying to be doing a feeding, and so you guys theoretically should be seeing a video tomorrow of the urban worm bag feedings. But regardless, even if you don't check back tomorrow, make sure you're subscribed so you can keep up with the playlist where I go every time I feed the worms. I upload a video, and that way you guys can see the progression as worms go from like at an introductory level of a small amount to hopefully in the coming months to 1,000 or more, hopefully, worms. And that way you can get the information you need to do some of this at home. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If there's anything I can help answer question-wise, make sure to drop it in the comments below. Myself or some other people who are also Wormington community managers will definitely help out in the comments below. If there's one thing I learned, the worm composting vermiculture community has been very generous with their information and is always happy to help others. So with that, I leave you guys for now, and we'll see you soon.